There are very important key elements at the moment you choose the right tool to pay for the right compensation, and you lay it out carefully. Whether you do it at the infant stage, kid stage, or maybe adult stage, the principle will be always the same.
Maybe a young individual will be able to benefit from in terms of protecting themselves, not basically hospitalization, but something else which maybe could be linked to investment.
So for me, I believe that for young people, especially young parents, if you can, securing a prenatal plan is always a peace of mind.
When my wife had our first baby, which was basically had some congenital abnormalities, so the insurance plan actually covered everything. A very good day to everyone watching. My name is Michael, and I'm part of the Fintech Frontier host team, and we are doing a very special podcast today to address our Global Fintech Academy's audiences. And we are very honored to have a very special guest for this very first episode of our podcast. And we would like to take this opportunity to delve deeper into the world of finance and insurance. And we will be asking many questions that many of you may be thinking about, but maybe did not have the opportunity to find the answers or to find the actual reasons behind certain things that happen in this particular industry. It can be related to protecting you as an individual or the assets that you may have. At the same time also, it may impact you in terms of your financial decisions, and maybe might impact you in terms of how you think of protecting your family and your assets overall. Okay, so I'm very proud today to have this first session with my very good friend, Alan, who is basically the founder and the managing director of P10 Solutions in Berhad. Okay, and as the first question is that I would like to ask Alan is that could you just share with us a little bit about your journey towards being the founder of P10? What inspired you? What motivated you? And just give us a summary of where you came from, because I want our audience to know that we are quite average people from a very humble beginning. I do not want them to get an idea, a sense that, oh, you know, both these two fellas wearing suit, it's like we come from some, you know, rich family and silver spoon, you know. So I want to hear your story and to share with our audience how you started.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mikey, for having me today. Hi, everyone. Actually, my journey would be like your journey as well. I started the journey about 20 years ago as a life insurance agent. Okay, then from there, why I started as a life insurance agent? Because I believe in life insurance. It's going to assist family when they are in financial problem. People are dealing with a lot of uncertainties in their life, critical illnesses, disability, end of life planning, a worst case scenario when death happens. And while I continue to become a life insurance planning, I managed to talk to a lot of people. I learned from their experience. Then I gathered that experience and learned a lot of wisdom. Then from there, I slowly, eventually starting to service more and more customer in my life. Then you know, in the life of growing, in the life of progressing, you can see people, they are healthy. They have a healthy way to deal with them. When people, they are unhealthy, we need to be there for them. Then it came to a point that when we are getting long enough in the industry, you feel that you can do more things for the society and also for the community, Mike. That actually insurance planning, it demands more knowledge, know-how and experience to deliver better. So we went to get more certification, especially for the registered financial planning, certified financial planning certification. From there, we realized actually the financial planning is not only about insurance. It encompasses things like general insurance. So you can make claims in the general insurance. So other than do claims for life insurance, you can do more for the community. Takaful knowledge for the Malay community, etc., etc. Then slowly, eventually, we noted actually our market are moving into more digitalization. We are now in the 2025. So since 2016, we started a lot of R&D, foundational project and tasks preparing for the digitalization. Then we prepare for about 5 years until 2020, might that COVID hit that time. Then we kind of go out. So what we did was we gathered all the team members together to digitalize the knowledge into a platform we have today. So the platform we have today basically is to assist the general practitioners and the general consumer to understand and to appreciate financial planning better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me stop you there because I want to get more into you as a person. So like, okay, a lot of people may not understand that because when you tell people that you started as an insurance sales person, right? There's kind of a stigma out in the market where people kind of like Chinese community, if you do sales, people kind of like, oh, you do sales, right? But I also want to share that I'm also from the sales background, but I do hold a double major degree in banking and finance, but I started in sales. I mean, until today, I think I'm still in sales and I'm in banking in terms of banking software. And I'm very happy that I started in sales because it gave me the tools to be able to communicate very well. So I want people to understand actually what degree did you graduate in, because I find that's very interesting because I don't think the audience know. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mike, for asking. I'm actually graduated with a degree in engineering, mechanical engineering, and a master's degree in manufacturing system engineering. But why am I in financial planning today? Actually, there is a connection. You know, as an engineer, we are very tedious about numbers, about projection, about simulations.
Yes.
This is what we are lacking today because most of the practitioners, when they go and talk to the consumer, it is still very idea and concept kind of presentation.
Yes,
You use
yes.
a piece of paper, you draw the concept selling. But you know, financial planning, it relates to numbers.
Yes,
And you know, general
absolutely.
consumer, every day they are dealing with numbers, commitments, debts, investment. So it came to a point that I worked together with my sibling. Then can we make numbers comes to life? So by making the numbers come to life with a lot of emotion, visualization, this is how we have been doing so far to educate the practitioners at the same time to raise awareness among the general consumers. So this is how my engineering background is assisting me in doing all that.
Okay.
Why? Because all the mathematical formulation, the time value of money, derivations are all from my degree last time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good basis, and I think that's a very good way of actually using what you have learned and translating and helping you transition to a, I think, more technologically savvy landscape in terms of providing services to our customers.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I think that transition also helped me a lot because actually I also understand numbers, but sometimes in insurance, I mean, can you share with us your experience in terms of like, what are the main pain points that you frequently encounter when you go out there and you speak to the customers or the prospects? I mean,
Okay.
what kind of approach do you think that you are doing differently because you have this capability of being able to explain the number and put it into kind of like infographic for your
Yeah.
for your end user or for your audience?
Yeah.
Can you just share with us like what are you doing different from other people that you think that the industry needs so that you are coming from the perspective of providing a better service to them while educating them in the importance of having the right insurance or right insurance coverage, which I think that's very, very, very important today, right?
Okay, thank you, Mike. To be very honest, I believe the general consumer markets in Malaysia today, they are quite educated because the insurance industry in this country is not about 10 years, it's got about 40 over years of experience, governed by Bank Negara Malaysia, and most general Malaysian, you and me, we're exposed to insurance agent, practitioners, news day in and day out, day in and day out. But however, there are still a lot of consumers, they don't understand really what they have. So the general pain points are, for example, like they thought that the medical plan they have can do wonders. Without understanding, there are some predefined definition, there are some limitations, there are some definitions that they should be understanding in the first place before they go and get the medical care. Usually, the confusion, the misunderstanding happen after hospitalization. For example, why during hospitalization, when I want to get discharged, there are a portion of the fee that is not payable by the insurance company, is to be paid by you, because there's a clause called deductible. For example, a higher core insurance, maybe you need to share 10% or 20% out from the total cost. So that's why until today, if you really want to remove all the pain points, I believe the general consumer and also the practitioner, they need to communicate openly, not only by talking on selling on the products, but also explaining the benefits, the things that the plan can do and cannot do in the benefit of the consumer. Then the customer will start to understand that actually not every product can do wonders. They take those good points and they can accept those weak points. So along the way, during claims, I believe all the miscommunication could be removed in a more meaningful way, not going into the argument way, Mike.
Okay, so I mean, from your response, I think that will be very applicable to, I would say, people who are generally in a more higher age group, right? But how about younger people? Like, for example, some of my crew members here, they actually post some questions to me and say that, hey, you know, at what age should we be considering insurance coverage?
Okay.
Am I too young? Or, you know, what are the other considerations? Because I think young people, let's say, just coming out to the workforce, right, maybe early 20s to mid 20 range, in my personal view is that they may not need insurance, but maybe insurance as a definition is much more broader scope right now. There are other kinds of, I think, product out there that even maybe a young individual will be able to benefit from in terms of protecting themselves, not basically hospitalization, but something else which maybe could be linked to investment.
Okay.
Is there anything like that? I mean, could you explain and just maybe give a little bit of insight to the younger audience, like how can they better prepare for their insurance journey if they are someone who is thinking and mature enough to think about risk and how to
Okay.
manage their risk moving into the future?
Okay. To be very honest, if today I have a baby audience, maybe I need to talk to the baby audience. You know why? Because the insurance, they evolve today until you can get it at the point of pregnancy stage.
Wow.
Oh, so the young parents at the pregnancy stage already can start doing insurance planning for the kid. But to be very honest, insurance planning is always very fundamental. There are very important key elements at the moment you choose the right tool to pay for the right compensation, and you lay it out carefully. Whether you do it at the infant stage, kid stage, or maybe adult stage, the principle will be always the same. For example, now if we got a prenatal plan, in the prenatal plan, you need to include a medical card to pay for the medical costs. You need to include kids' illnesses, adult illnesses, accidental benefits, or maybe a death or TPD benefits. And those benefits will continue to evolve the moment you are becoming a kid or becoming an adult, right? So the fundamental element will be the same. So for me, I believe that for young people, especially young parents, if you can, securing a prenatal plan is always a peace of mind. Why? Because now the young parents, they are very busy, they're exposed to a lot of stress. Maybe a condition like a premature born may happen, or pre-existing condition, medical condition may happen. At the moment, if we secure at the prenatal stage, despite of the premature born or pre-existing condition, the plan will still honor.
Yes, yes. I think I can relate to that because my experience personally for having insurance, I was very fortunate to have a very good coverage at a very young age because when my wife had our first baby, which was basically had some congenital abnormalities, so the insurance plan actually covered everything. So that was like a big help, right? Although at that time I was still quite financially secure, but that helped really make a big difference.
True.
Because we didn't have to worry about that, and it was fully covered. And I think another experience I can share is that when I was holidaying with my wife in Chiang Mai, she had an appendix rupture, and we were in a foreign country. But the local insurance company that I was with, which I cannot name, and I don't want to name, basically covered us as well, and she was hospitalized. She went from ICU and hospitalized there for about a total of 11 days. So the bill came up to about 14,000. And in a way, during that time in Chiang Mai, the actual private hospitalization bill was much cheaper than in Malaysia. So imagine the same thing happened here. I think I will not be able to get it for 14,000 for 11 days.
I think your bill has been covered by your travel insurance, Mike.
Correct.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was a total package. So I guess it relates to the point whereby I think before anyone wants to get an insurance coverage, they have to think about what they want to cover and the risk that is most relevant to them in their station of life. And also if they are married, then they have to look at it as a family unit.
Different priorities.
Right? So I think that will help in kind of framing what kind of insurance you should be looking at, right? For the age, I think most young people tend to think that they don't need it. But I think in today's generation, they're becoming more risk averse.
Correct.
I think also that the insurance industry, especially in Malaysia, is already very matured. Some of the children or the kids have already are basically responsible for buying insurance for their elderly parents.
True, true.
Right? So over here, it's kind of a bit different, but like I do visit Philippines quite a lot. And what I want to share with the audience is that we are fortunate here in Malaysia by having a larger per capita income. So insurance is something that I think most Malaysians can afford. We're lucky in that sense, but by having the opportunity to travel, I realized that in other countries, within ASEAN itself, one of their top seller in terms of insurance is micro insurance or nano insurance, right? Where they can insure themselves for maybe a week or
True.
a month and they pay their premium accordingly to that duration, right? But I don't think that's so applicable in Malaysia. Or do you think it's something that the B40 group is going to be very applicable for them? What do you think?
Okay, thank you about the micro insurance thing. It is still not very popular or we call liberalized in Malaysia. Why? Because as you mentioned, most Malaysians today, whether they are B40, M40 and T20, they got their segmental kind of product which will suit their financial needs based on their affordability. For example, like today for the B40, they still need a medical card, they still need critical illnesses, accidental and death protection. All they need to do is they do it at a smaller quantum, buy lesser benefits at a lesser price. Now for people who are M40, they got higher salary, more income, they can increase the quantum of protection in terms of medical, critical, etc., etc. For people who are T20, maybe they will invest more to create more benefits. So this is the scenario currently happen in Malaysia. If we have 200, we design a 200 ringgit solution. If we got 2,000, definitely the principle of insurance will work exactly the same, but the payout will be different. You pay higher, they get more compensation. So the thing about micro insurance is it's not popular yet in Malaysia, and we don't have people really go into that area to design some innovative product like you mentioned in the Philippines. Why? Because most of the people now with 50 ringgit a month, they can insure to a certain level. For example, a PA policy or simple life policy will be good enough for them as a start. Yeah.
Okay. So PA means personal accident?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. I think since the day that I started purchasing insurance at the age of, I remember 23 years old, I think the insurance landscape in Malaysia has changed significantly, right? I just want to share a bit of an experience so that at least we can get a little bit of a more insightful conversation that we are going to share with our audience. Because back then at 23, okay, which is quite a long time ago, more than 3 decades ago,
Okay.
in this lifetime of mine, is that back then when I met an insurance agent that came door to door, and I was in my office at that time. Yes, at 23, I already had an office. and that particular agent approached me, and at that time, at a very young age, although I was kind of running like my own business, I did not really know much about insurance. Yes, I'm a graduate, I'm supposed to be intelligent, but at the same time, my idea of insurance coverage is just, at that time, only life insurance.
True.
Okay? And so, based on, I didn't ask many questions because that person came to me and I assumed that she's hardworking, going door to knock, and I was kind of in the same industry because back then I was in direct sales. So I kind of like felt like connected to that person, and I wanted to help her in the sense that she was hardworking. But at the same time also, I felt that the insurance policy that was recommended to me was a bit exorbitant for my age, because I did not feel that at 23 I should be covered so much.
Okay, okay.
So that was my experience in a very brief description. In other words, in short, I'm trying to say is that I'm overinsured.
Okay.
Did not get the right advice. I think looking back, I think being an insurance agent, and she looked at me being 23, I don't have any hereditary family illnesses in my genes or whatever. I felt that at that time, the insurance premium that I'm paying back then, to be honest, is double of what I'm paying today. So at 23, so I felt that it's not the right approach.
Okay.
So can you just give us a little bit of insight now, the approach today, how the industry has evolved? Why is it that the industry now requires insurance agents to go through quite a stringent certification process, which maybe is related to my experience back then, how I think the industry has evolved, right, over the last 3 decades. So can you just share a little bit of what probably the quality of today's agents versus the quality of the agents 30 years ago or 20 years ago?
Okay, thank you, Mike. Maybe just a bit of background, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, in the early 1980s, if you want to become an insurance agent, you don't need any qualification. Yeah, you can join without qualification that time. Why? Because that time it's a new industry in the country. They need a lot of people to go into the field work, to give the education, to help people to promote the insurance protection. That's why in the first few years, no qualification is required until Lim. Lim is the Life Insurance Association of Malaysia, introduced certification. So the insurance agent who needs to join the industry must be certified under a PCE paper or CLI paper. PCE is a general insurance paper. CLI is investment link related paper to prepare you more ready when you go out and talk to the customer day in and day out. Right? Because when the customer are exposed, they are more demanding. They will throw a lot of difficult and crazy questions to you, so you must be able to answer them professionally and correctly. And this is how the industry evolved without certification to some form of certification. Then until recently, Bank Negara Malaysia, they are enforcing another mandatory certification program they call PITA, Professionalism of Insurance and Takaful Advisor, and the insurance agent who are worked less than 10 years in the industry must be further certified. The purpose of having the certification not to make insurance agent hard in their work, but is to make them aware, actually you can learn more things to assist the community in a much more meaningful way. Because as a life insurance agent, other than doing claiming, other than medical, critical illnesses, accident or death, we can do more for the community. For example, if I can have the know-how to do so, why not? I still remember a case. The lady deceased because of nose cancer. She left with 3 kids. If we only claiming from the critical illnesses sides, maybe she got 50,000. But because you have the so knowledge, you go and file the claim under so. So now the 3 kids and the husband, they are receiving 55% of a last drawn salary. Mike, think very carefully. Is the 50,000 important or the so compensation important? I believe the answer are both.
Yes, both.
Yeah.
For the full benefit, right? But most people tend to, I would say, out there don't really know, and maybe they take things for granted that, oh, I'm only insured this much, so therefore I am only going to get this much. But they don't probably ask the right questions. Can I frame it that way?
Yes, because
the knowledge base is not enough. Because as a consumer, sometimes we don't think about all those things. It's like, okay, this person tells us that this is what I'm qualified for, and most of the time they don't read the policies. They just sign it off, right? Like myself, I'm using myself as a very bad example because I trust my insurance agent. So they tell me whatever, I'm covered for this, okay, here's the form, I just sign, but I don't read the fine print, so to speak. Okay, so I think a good thing a good principle to practice, it would be that I think we take the time to read the insurance policy, what we covered for, what is our
True,
benefit, what is our right, and of course, how to go about if in case of a claims, where should we go, how should we do it, right? And of course, those are the important questions, I feel, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people are not doing, taking it for granted. They
True.
think that the insurance agent's job is to do that.
Correct.
Correct or not?
Correct. Correct. And this is the reason why the certification come into the process to assist our Takafu and insurance agent to know more things so that they can give back to the society. Because most of the time, I don't think consumer like you and me, we are not in the industry. We do not know how to ask the right questions. So if we do not know how to ask the right questions, then instead the practitioner advisor must be assisting the customer rightfully with integrity
Yes.
and faithfully. Why? Because when the moment of truth happens and you tell the customer that you cannot claim, it's going to be disaster. So we make sure the process to be done professionally and ethically as governed by Bank Negara Malaysia.
Okay, my final question before we end this particular segment is, so in total, how many years have you been in the insurance industry?
I am disclosing my age. I am around 24.5 years.
Okay, so
Yeah.
very close to 25 years.
Yes.
And how long have you set up and founded P10?
We are preparing since 2016, and the real setup is 2021.
2002.
Yeah, until today is about 4 years.
Yes. And can you just quickly give us a timeline, like how long did it take you to go through the process of developing the solution on the platform that you were inspired by being able to better serve your community and your customers, that you came out with this platform via technology that was available to you to come up with this product to ensure that the customers are better served? How many years did it take you to ideate the technology? And then how long did it take you to go through the process of compliance and regulatory hurdles with Bank Negara before you could actually launch this product? Can you tell us?
I think it's about 8 years, Mike. So for the first 4 years, we do a lot of R&D, research and development. We need to make sure mathematically, statistically, time value of money formula must be correct in the first place. So we started to write a lot of articles, papers, journal to make sure they are correct. Then until earlier, I mentioned earlier, we came to COVID. So we took the 24 months to digitalize and to do the programming to build the robo-advisory tool. So for the insurance and Takafu advisor or maybe the unit trust advisor to leverage on the advisory tool to engage the customer better, to present better. The most important thing to make the customer understand why they need to do such planning, what benefits they can get, the pro and cons, everything transparently in one page. Then the regulation and the compliance actually is very painful. Why? Because as a company not known to the market and you're having a robo-advisory which can do calculation in seconds, simulation and projections, we need to talk to council, associations, slowly talk to them until they say, okay, maybe I explore your solution, take a look, check the calculation. The whole thing takes another 3 years. So most of the compliance and recognition we have got today from Malaysian Financial Planning Council, Malaysian Takafu Association, FIMM, Unit Trust Association, are just being, we just achieved the recognition very, very recently, like end of last year or maybe a year earlier. So the whole process took us like about 9 years, Mike.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very commendable. And yeah, so we will touch a little bit more about the platform in the next segment. Okay, so for now, thank you very much,
Thank you,
Alan,
Mike.
for this conversation and for being our first, participant in this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.